Hi guys, I think the number 17 down here is referencing the 17th of September, and I think the crown underneath the foot is important. I think the steel toe cap is connected with the pound here, but not just the pound, the crown that's on the pound, which says to me steel crown. I referenced it before as steel gold, in reference to like the Federal Reserve and stuff like that, but it could be steel crown, and if that's the case, then it looks like someone's going to be trying to maybe steal the crown, you know, the Queen's crown, which brings me to obviously the letter Q, which is the 17th letter of the alphabet, and obviously the Queen is one of the quick words that come to your head when you think of the letter Q. Now, 17, the Queen, something in England, that would be the day before Hurricane Helen comes in. Maybe something doesn't actually happen to the Queen. Maybe it just gives her a convenient excuse to get out of the way when the kind of you know things start happening in the UK. Conveniently, the day before she takes ill and no one sees her. Who knows where she really is? Underground bunker, something like that, maybe. But if that's the case, then they could. She could either really die or they could fake her death. Let's just put those two scenarios on the table, which means either we'll have King Charles, King William, or King Harry. That only takes place. Harry's situation is only possible if something happens to pretty much the whole royal family, apart from him. That could have more connections with still Crown, and obviously Obama again is connected to Prince Harry quite significantly. They are very chummy with each other. But before I get to that, I searched just the Queen on the internet, and one of the top three stories was what will happen if Prince Philip outlives the Queen, published within the hour by Royal Central. Basically, Prince Charles would take the throne, and he would make the choice if his father would become king after him before Prince William. Obviously, we won't know that until Charles is king, but he might not, because if there is a plot, some sort of Game of Thrones style coup to take over the crown, it's possible that Obama and Prince Harry could be linked to that. Obviously, you've got Obama referencing the Red Wedding, um, the whole boom talk between him, the Queen, and Obama and Michelle. The numbers, I believe, here are significant: 239, 923, 223, Freemason, 9/11. That's when I think something's going to happen in the UK. Like, really big. So after something happens on the 17th, and then something happens on the 18th in terms of Hurricane Helen, then between that time and the 23rd, we've got Storm Alley and we've got Storm Brona coming in, and then on the 23rd, something else. If you're connecting hurricane names, like I've been doing, then it's possible that we've got high elevated, I'll just take those two words, and Helen, light, torch, or bright. High elevated light, high elevated torch. Could reference the illuminated one that they keep referencing, the Antichrist, the devil, Satan, the serpent. Or it could also be a reference to an EMP, which would obviously be an elevated light. Again, we could have the no electricity situation over here in the UK, kind of following a similar scenario to what could potentially be happening on the East Coast and the West Coast, you know, in the next coming days. So if it's referencing 23/9, as in September 23rd, as a second 9/11 for the UK, connected to the Freemasons. I'll make this a bit bigger for you guys. So yeah, if you got all those numbers, Freemasons, 9/11, the 23rd of September, the second one for the UK, something connected to the Queen, which allows Prince Harry to take over. At the same time, by the 15th of September, I'm expecting maybe something to happen to Donald Trump as well. So you've got a situation where Obama can be in a position to, maybe not lead the country, because obviously there's the whole, constitution that doesn't allow for a president to go for more than 2 terms. But in a situation where you've just had tsunamis on both coasts, the 50th state, Hawaii, devastated, the possibility of blackouts and all these things going on, I think a lot of people will look to Obama as a source of stability. So the same could be said of Prince Harry. If something happens to the majority of the royal family, he'll be looked at as the symbol of the UK, the one with the I am reference and all of that. So I think it's maybe, yeah, it's definitely something I'm going to keep an eye out for. Obviously, this is just interpretation, so it may not happen at all. But it's interesting. I think at the very least, it's interesting. Q17, the Queen, something connected to Prince Harry, second 9/11, 23rd of September, connected to the Freemasons, allowing this sort of Game of Thrones coup to take place. He take over in the UK, Obama takes over in the US, and we move forward into a different world, one they call the New World Order, where China has more dominance than the rest of the countries, but they're all still kind of working together in this agenda. So with that said, you guys, I think I'm just going to leave it there. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father